On the morning of September 8, 2025, what started as a routine day at a Hollywood impound lot quickly spiraled into a scene straight out of a crime thriller. Employees at the lot first noticed a foul, persistent odor coming from an abandoned Tesla, parked among dozens of other vehicles. At first, they assumed it was just another forgotten car, but as the stench grew stronger, concern turned to alarm. The impound lot, usually a place of mundane paperwork and forgotten vehicles, was about to become the center of a chilling discovery. Police were called to the scene after worried employees reported the smell. Officers arrived quickly, questioning staff and following their directions to the source. The officers traced the odor to the Tesla's front trunk, a place rarely checked by anyone but the car's owner. When they finally opened the trunk, what they found was beyond anyone's worst expectations. Human remains, badly decomposed, were discovered inside. The gruesome find instantly transformed the impound lot into the epicenter of a major homicide investigation, drawing in detectives, forensic teams, and a swarm of police vehicles. Investigators quickly identified the car's owner through registration documents left on the windshield. The Tesla was registered to David Anthony Burke, better known to millions as the rising music sensation D4vd. The connection between the car and the young star sent shockwaves through the police department. Suddenly, D4vd found himself thrust into the heart of a disturbing criminal case. The public, already fascinated by his meteoric rise, now watched as his name became linked to a grisly crime. News of the discovery spread like wildfire, dominating headlines and social media feeds. Fans gathered outside concert venues in disbelief, while the music industry reeled from the shocking revelation. The atmosphere in D4vd's inner circle turned somber as questions mounted. The impound lot was cordoned off, transformed into a meticulously managed crime scene. Forensic teams worked late into the night, collecting evidence, photographing every detail, and searching for any clue that could explain how a celebrity's car became the site of such horror. With a celebrity at the center, the case drew relentless media attention. Reporters camped outside the police station, eager for any update, while news vans lined the streets near the impound lot. Every new detail was dissected by journalists and fans alike. Police prioritized a thorough investigation, focusing on the chilling contents of the trunk and the high-profile name attached to the vehicle. Detectives worked around the clock, determined to uncover the truth behind the gruesome discovery and how it connected to D4vd. What began as an ordinary day in Hollywood had suddenly become a national mystery, leaving everyone wondering what secrets the City of Stars was hiding. The remains were soon identified as Celeste Rivas Hernandez, a name that would come to symbolize heartbreak and unanswered questions for an entire community. Celeste was just 15 years old, a teenager from the close-knit town of Lake Elsinore, California, where everyone seemed to know each other and news traveled fast. For nearly a year, her family had clung to hope, searching for any sign of Celeste, organizing vigils, and refusing to give up. The devastating discovery of her remains brought that hope to a sudden, painful end, leaving her loved ones grappling with unimaginable grief. The tragedy sent shockwaves through Lake Elsinore. Friends, neighbors, and even strangers came together to mourn the loss of a vibrant young girl whose smile had once lit up classrooms and playgrounds. The community's sorrow was palpable, and the sense of loss was shared by all. For investigators, the case became a race against time. They now faced the daunting task of piecing together the events of Celeste's final year, trying to understand where she had been, who she had been with, and how her journey ended so tragically in D4vd's car. The long gap between her disappearance and the discovery of her remains made the investigation even more challenging. Memories faded, potential evidence was lost, and crucial leads had grown cold with time. Authorities worked tirelessly to reconstruct Celeste's last known movements, reaching out to the public for any information. They interviewed witnesses, canvassed neighborhoods, and followed up on every possible lead, hoping someone might remember a detail that could break the case open. As the story unfolded, Celeste's case became more than just a headline. It became a rallying cry for justice, inspiring her community to demand answers and accountability for what had happened to her. The focus of the investigation shifted from simply finding Celeste to understanding the circumstances of her disappearance and holding those responsible to account. The media spotlight intensified, and the pressure on law enforcement grew. For Celeste's family, friends, and the entire Lake Elsinore community, the search for answers was just beginning. Their determination to uncover the truth would not waver, no matter how long it took. Details about Celeste's body revealed a crime of extreme brutality. The scene that greeted investigators was one of horror and heartbreak, a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of everyday life. The initial shock was palpable, even among seasoned professionals who had seen their share of tragedy. Her remains were decomposed and, most disturbingly, dismembered, suggesting a calculated effort to conceal her identity. The advanced state of decomposition made identification difficult, and the dismemberment pointed to a perpetrator, or perpetrators, who were both methodical and ruthless. It was clear that whoever was responsible had gone to great lengths to erase any trace of Celeste's life. Police quickly theorized that more than one person was likely involved, given the complexity of the crime. The logistics of moving and hiding a body, especially in such a gruesome state, would have been difficult for a single individual. This led investigators to consider the possibility of a coordinated effort, perhaps even a premeditated plan. The investigation expanded to include possible accomplices who may have helped move or hide the body. Detectives scoured the area for additional evidence, searching for any clue that might reveal the identities of those involved. Every scrap of information became vital in piecing together the events that led to Celeste's tragic fate. Detectives began interviewing multiple individuals connected to the case, each potentially holding a piece of the puzzle. Friends, acquaintances, and even distant contacts were questioned, as investigators tried to untangle the web of relationships and motives that might have played a role in the crime. The level of planning and cooperation suggested a conspiracy, making the search for truth even more challenging. The team realized they were not just dealing with a single act of violence, but possibly a network of individuals working together to cover their tracks. The public was horrified by the brutality, fueling outrage and demands for swift justice. News of the crime spread quickly, and the community was gripped by fear and sorrow. People gathered at the scene, desperate for answers and hoping for closure. The case remained in the spotlight, with every new detail intensifying scrutiny. Media outlets covered every development, and the pressure on law enforcement to deliver results mounted with each passing day. For investigators, the depravity of the crime only strengthened their resolve. They worked tirelessly, often late into the night, determined to bring those responsible to justice and provide some measure of peace to Celeste's loved ones. The search for all those involved became more urgent than ever. Every lead was pursued, every tip investigated, as the team refused to let the case go cold. Celeste's tragic end demanded answers. Her memory became a rallying point for the community, and the quest for justice pressed on, undeterred by the obstacles that lay ahead. With the Tesla registered to D4vd, the young singer was immediately a person of interest. Initially, he cooperated with police, but as the investigation deepened, his status shifted to official suspect. Reports soon surfaced that D4vd was no longer cooperating, complicating the investigation and fueling public speculation. Police now had to build their case without his assistance, increasing scrutiny on his actions and whereabouts. The shift from rising star to suspect marked a turning point in the case. The presumption of innocence remained, but the weight of suspicion was immense. The investigation now focused on D4vd himself and any potential connection to Celeste. The spotlight on him had never been more intense. D4vd, once celebrated for his viral hits and relatable artistry, now faced a shocking reversal of fortune. His breakout song, Romantic Homicide, took on a chilling new meaning as headlines linked him to a real-life tragedy. Fans struggled to reconcile the sensitive artist they admired with the brutality of the allegations. The story quickly moved from music blogs to major news outlets, casting a dark shadow over his career. The contrast between his public persona and the investigation was stark. D4vd's journey from bedroom producer to global sensation had become a cautionary tale. His future now hung in the balance. The LAPD moved quickly, executing a search warrant at D4vd's Los Angeles home while he was away on tour. Investigators sought evidence linking him to Celeste's death, anything from forensic traces to digital communications. The timing of the search during his tour highlighted the urgency and complexity of the case. Police worked to reconstruct D4vd's movements and connections in the weeks before Celeste's body was found. Believing more than one person was involved, detectives interviewed numerous individuals for leads. Each conversation brought them closer to understanding the network around both D4vd and Celeste. Forensic evidence, digital records, and witness statements were all under review. Law enforcement released few details, determined not to compromise the investigation. Their goal: uncover the truth, wherever it led. The fallout for D4vd's career was immediate and devastating. His remaining tour dates, including major shows in San Francisco and Los Angeles, were abruptly cancelled. The entire European leg of his tour was also scrapped, halting his momentum and income. Plans for new music releases, including a deluxe album, were shelved indefinitely. The music industry distanced itself, unwilling to promote an artist under such a dark cloud. Online, fans and critics alike expressed shock and disappointment, with speculation running rampant. Sponsors and partners quickly pulled away. The association with a brutal crime severely tarnished his public image. Even if cleared, rebuilding his reputation would be a monumental challenge. For D4vd, the damage may be impossible to undo. A crucial piece of the puzzle remains missing: the official cause and manner of Celeste's death. As of November 19, 2025, the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner had yet to release their findings. This report is vital for prosecutors to determine possible charges. Without it, the legal process is stalled, and the case remains in limbo. The condition of Celeste's body required extensive forensic analysis, delaying answers. The medical examiner's conclusions will shape the next phase of the investigation. Until then, key questions: how, where, and why Celeste died remain unanswered. The wait for answers is agonizing for her family and the public. As the investigation drags on, Celeste's family and community wait anxiously for justice. The medical examiner's report is expected to be a turning point, potentially leading to arrests and charges. D4vd remains the only publicly named suspect, but police believe others were involved. The world watches to see if the case will bring accountability, or more questions. For D4vd, the stakes are enormous: a legal battle, a shattered career, and a tarnished legacy. For Celeste's loved ones, the focus remains on finding the truth and holding those responsible accountable. The involvement of a celebrity has brought intense attention, but the heart of the case is a family's loss. The community demands answers, clarity, and justice for Celeste. The coming weeks will determine if that justice is finally served.